We're going to start our event here this morning. We're going to do a grand entry. If I can ask all the dignitaries to make their way back to the front door, we're going to do a grand entry. We have our drum group here from our neighboring community from Sturgeon Lake. I believe they go by the name of Iron Swing from Sturgeon. So, nas kumahon they do. You take me guava, big you got guava, you will be with guava. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Roger Berg. I'm one of the co-MCs for today's event. Nolan Henderson, also known as Marcian, is my co-MC. And today's event was planned and organized by our staff at the Senator Gallenberg Memorial School. So I'd like to thank Simon and his staff for organizing today's event. So ask him out. And also Kim Jonathan, who works for Montreal Lake Prevention, is also helping us with today's event. So I thank him for that as well. So with that, we're going to start with our grand entry. And if I can ask Gerald to come to the front, please. I'll go see Gerald. Just give me 1 second. I'm just waiting for the back there to let me know when we're ready to enter. And let Iron Swing know. And for the just in order of the songs that we're going to be doing, we're going to do the grand entry song. We're going to do the flag Treaty 6, Treaty 6 flag song, the victory song, and honoring the treaty, the sacredness of treaty, and the event itself, Treaty Day. So that's how we're going to do our songs for this morning, leading up to this afternoon. This afternoon, we're going to have, right after lunch, on the stage, we have some actors. We have an Indian agent. They're going to be doing a reenactment of the adhesion to Treaty 6 that took place February 11th, 1889. So they're going to do a play or act as to the best of their abilities as to what transpired in February 11th, 1889. So we are ready. So folks, if I can ask you please, I know for those of you who can stand up, please stand up. For the elders, you can remain seated. And for the folks, if you have something on your head, like headwear, can you please remove that? So we are ready to start, and we're going to do our grand entry song. So Iron Swing, take it away. please, and render us with the prayer. One of them has microphone, Betsy. Please remain standing.
My prayer will be in Cree, and I don't use the mic, but I believe that the Cree will be hearing me again. Their thoughts and your
Thank you, Betsy. Last moment now. Please remain standing. We're going to do the Treaty 6 flag song, followed by victory, and then we'll do the honor song after that. So, Ironson, take it away. beautiful Treaty 6 flag song. We'll now ask Iron Swing to give us a victory song. All the dancers, let's dance. Thank you, Iron Swing. Ladies and gentlemen, we're just about done. We got one more song, and we're gathered here today to celebrate Adhesion to Treaty 6 signing back in February 11th, 1889. I'm going to now ask Iron Swing to give us an honor song to honor treaty, to honor the sacredness of treaty, and of course to honor Treaty Day. Iron Swing.
Hey!
So you may be seated there, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your patience. It's part of our customs and traditions we go through to honor all the songs and to make honor of the event that we're celebrating. I'm going to introduce our dignitaries, and they can be seated right behind them. First, I'd like to call up Gerald Valentine, our Flagstaff carrier, our flag carrier, Bird, we call him, Chief Joyce Nadahau, Vice Chief Craig McCollum from the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations. Right beside him, Vice Chief Dutch Leroy. He's back home once again. Welcome, Dutch. Right beside Dutch, we have our visiting council member, councilwoman from PBCN, all the way from Pelican Arrows. I'd like to introduce Elizabeth Michelle. Hey, welcome to Montreal, Elizabeth. Ask them if they have a name. Beside Elizabeth, I'd like to call up former chief, former leader in our community, now a senator of the Prince Albert Grand Council. I'd like to introduce Nolan Henderson. Beside Nolan, one of our visitors from up north here, just a little ways down the road, a little community called Namibian Lake, Sucker River. I'd like to introduce Councillor Devin Bernachez. Beside Devin, one of our local members, I don't know his last name, I only know him as Constable Jared. He's from Montreal Lake here, so welcome, Jared. Beside Jared, one of our local council ladies, woman, I'd like to introduce Carol Nadahau. Almost said Okinawa, sorry. Beside Carol, we have Councillor Troy Nadahau. And I gotta get my book here, because I don't know these young ladies or young councillors here. We have new chief and council here, and I want to introduce them. Introduce Chief Mary Halkett. Where's Mary? Right here. Our new chief, councillors Desiree Ryder. Where's Desiree? Or is it Desire? Desire, sorry. My mistake. Council member Peyton Bird. Another councillor, Athryn Henderson. And Councillor Jarrell Bird. And we're missing council member Sam Bird. Vice Chief Sam Bird, sorry. And our dancers, Jeannie Smith. Where's Jeannie? There she is, there's Jeannie. She's a new dancer, by the way, and another new dancer we have Tylee Nadahau? No. Timpin, sorry, Timpin. Timpin Nadahau, she's not new, she's a veteran. I'd like to introduce, is that Ali? Elena Nadahau. Next one I have is Brianna Smith Nadahau. Smith. Next, I'd like to introduce Briar Carter. Next, I'd like to introduce Donalyn Bird. And also introduce again Mary Halkett. She's one of our dancers, our chief. Mercury Nadahau. Oh, Mercedes Nadahau. Mercedes, I gotta go back to school here. Annalea Ross. Welcome. Okay, dignitaries, you may be seated. The Youth Council, you can be seated as well. And I'm gonna ask my co-MC to come and join us in the front here. I want to ask Charlotte. Charlotte, can you go join Abel for a couple of minutes? We only have about 25 minutes of interviews left, and we want to put you on the radio. You're going to be live on NBC Radio. You know, she's kind of spearheading a project called Language. What's it called, Connor? Language
Steering Committee.
Steering Committee. She's kind of spearheading that, and there's a group of people that are part of that from the urban sector, from Montreal Lake and Little Red, and they've been doing some excellent work. And I believe what they're working on is creating an app. Cree language app is what they're working towards, and I think it's just about ready. And in that app, you'll hear the voice of our former late Vice Chief Arnold Nadehouse speaking on there as well, because he was part of that group. So don't be surprised when that app comes out and you hear the voice of our former council member Arnold Nadehouse. So that's what Charlotte are doing. And Abel is in the hallway there. They're doing interviews for NBC. So I'm going to turn it over to my co-MC. I'll introduce Noah Henderson.
Thanks, Roger. Just like to thank everyone. $135 years ago. Kaya siya tinita iwan mo siya gawa patina kaya dansi ingita kami gaya uspi. Aga ito ni isa pa ko kiswag nagkoy ita chapunat kagi ispatik. So we'll try to I know it's going to be really difficult for us to duplicate what happened 135 years ago up on the north end of Montreal Lake at Molinosa. That's what we're trying to talk about today and to review. So we all understand exactly that our people of the day wanted this event to take place. And there's people like, you'll hear about James Roberts, the chief from Orange. He talked about this event. He had a church up at Little Hills, just down from Orange. So I mean, that was his congregation. We have images of that. And he wanted this event to take place. Same as our people, Benjamin Bird, our chief of the day. They all wanted this event to take place. They had heard so much about the Treaty 6 that had taken place at Fort Carleton. Long stay igibi at Postage. Igwa igito inita ko utamin at piyaman case pati kumuta. Tapi it's so hot. What did Nima Bogamagan school? The Queen's representative, so So that's what you're going to hear about, is that story today. One of the commissioners, in Ottawa, in Tawacha. So parts of his story was going to be Dinawa. So with that, I think we'll just continue our program in terms of the speakers. So yeah, that way.
Thank you, Noah. I'm going to get Noah to come speak later on in the program too, because he's got quite a bit of a history to talk about. I think they had a gathering here back in 1972 as well. We had our community elders that were gathered, former late, now deceased chief and some of the headmen that were here and some of the councillors. They had a gathering here in Montreal Lake, and they were asked about the adhesion to Treaty 6 signing, and some of them were told us when they were children as to what transpired back in adhesion to Treaty 6 signing. So I'm going to ask them to talk a little bit about that later. So, first speaker I'd like to call up, I want to introduce from our community here in Montreal Lake. She's our chief. And I'd like to call up Chief Joyce McLeod to come and say a few words. So Joyce, if you don't mind, please, come on up. You know, it'd be nice, I know it's a little awkward where I am right now, so I'm wondering, do you guys feel comfortable speaking in the middle there with the microphone? Chief, is that okay, or do you want to speak from there, in the middle? Yeah, if you don't mind, sorry.
Yeah. I'm a former teacher, so I can walk all over. Good morning, it's now, and I want to welcome all of you. Welcome the visitors from FSIN, from PBCN, from L'Orange, and our council here from Montreal Lake, our elder, drummers. Thank you, drummers. Drummers are part of our. They used to be part of our community. They're part of our relations from the Hunt family. You all know my so welcome them, Grace Hunt family. So they're family to us, and they always enjoy coming here to Montreal Lake to help out. And also want to thank the Red Coat, our safety officer, and also to the dancers, and also the youth chief and council that were dancing here and representing their youth from Montreal Lake. I also want to give a special acknowledgement to 10 barbers that came all the way from Montreal Lake to bring all the history of the signing of the treaties from Montreal Lake and L'Orange. There's a lot of information there. He's got a lot of information to give out as well. And also to the Office of the Treaty Commission, Giselle, I welcome you. But also a big thanks to the education staff from Montreal Lake, the staff and the teachers that work so hard, and also to Charlotte and her group here who are going to be reenacting. I can't wait to watch the reenactment of Montreal Lake. It's going to be very interesting. When you talk about history, when you talk about history, this is the time when we reflect our leaders, our past leaders' visions of what had happened. The treaties. That's why we're here today in the school education, continuing, because that's part of our treaties. Our health, that's part of our treaty. So it's important for you little kids, for students, to continue learning about your treaties. Always question, always find out, always read, because there's so much to learn. Even for us in leadership, we're always learning, we're always reading, trying to find out, what happened. And Miss Carol here will also tell you about that's some information that she discovered. When she discovers information, she tells us right away. The gifts there, the prevention, they always play a big part in our community. And also the MC, Ango, and also the video here, Abel, and everybody. If I forgot anybody in the committee here that did this, is Beverly and Agnes, who've been teaching here for 100 years. They're good teachers, and they can want to continue the teachings of the history and our culture. That's why sometimes it's good that we have our powwow dancers, because sometimes that's where the healing is, to start dancing, to go back to our culture, to retain our language. That's where the healing is. And I want to see more of that in this community. So much information here, so much to do, and so much. You just feel welcome when you come back here, because it takes a lot of people to plan something like this. The cooks that are out there, the youth who went out there to kill a moose just so we can eat. I don't know about the fish, but I don't know. And also I want to welcome all the visitors from Little Red, the elders, Prince Albert elders that came in, our Dave Sanderson, former RCMP officer, who played a big role in getting us the new detachment within 3 years, played a big role in that. There's so much to do, so many people to thank. Last and not least, we started this work 3 years ago, and I want to commend Roger Ango, who said, 3 years ago, we decided, the council decided, we haven't celebrated February 11. Why are we not celebrating? So we signed a BCR, and we took that February 11 as a very important day. The day of the when the day was when the treaties were adhesion to the treaties were signed on February 11. So at that time we said, okay, we're going to take this special day. We're going to make it a holiday for our nation. And that's what we did the first year. The second year, Roger Uncle came along and said, let's make something big out of it. So that's why last year we had a bigger event here. And this year, it's getting bigger. Next year, hopefully, it'll be a bigger celebration. Because it's always start. And we continue the work of our former leaders that are still sitting here, and the ones that are gone, because I
Thank you, Chief. Once down again, I present you with the gift on behalf of Montreal Education and Prevention. We want to, from Education, sorry, Simon Bird and the crew. The school committee, we want to present you with a gift. And ask them now. Anyway. Next, I'd like to call up our own principal here from Montreal Cree Nation, Senator Alan Bird Memorial School. I'd like to call up Simon Bird. He got not that name, we got that bill about weeks ago, so I'm going to call up Simon Bird.
There's always room for visitors in our school. And to our students, thank you very much for being good hosts and listening. I just want to, again, remind every one of us the importance of the visions and the wishes of our ancestors, our elders, our signatory treaty signers, our negotiators. That one of the things was to make sure that we have a treaty right to an education. And so this building exists because there were negotiations being made on behalf of you today. Don't squander that. Don't waste that. Come to school every day. A lot of us that have gone to university, you know, we're no smarter than anybody else in this room, but we just keep at it each and every day. It is tough, it is hard, but we keep at it. And those that are interested in the trades, those that get to work with their hands, it's the same thing. You keep at it every single day, because what you're doing is you're honoring the treaty wishes, the treaty negotiations, to make sure that our young people will get to be able to make a living in this new way. So I just ask to honor that in your own way. And also ask for your forgiveness from our dignitaries and our elders. Every single one of you, I stopped by the door and made sure that you wiped your feet if you had snow or if you had wet feet. I do this because a lot of us students here, a lot of our students don't have any indoor shoes. They have socks. And when people come in with wet feet, they may not think about the students that don't have any indoor shoes, so they get their feet wet. And we don't want our students to have wet feet because they might get sick, or they might not start to feel well. But other than that, I just want to say it's an honor to be up here to serve Montreal Lake Cree Nation, and to be part of the Peter Ballantyne Cree Nation. And once upon a time, I was also part of the Lac La Ronge Indian Band Administration in terms of education, and also once upon a time, I was part of the FSIN. If you are ever lucky enough to be in any one of these roles, don't forget where you come from, and when you get a chance, go out there, try to make a living, and come back and help our people on the ground and in our communities. With that said, thank you very much.
Okay, Simon, one more word. Kim's going to present you with a gift, so that's the way to do. So thank you very much, Simon. Thank you for your words. Next, I'd like to call up, we have a guest, a visitor from just down the road here, a little bit north of us. He's currently a council member. He's a former hockey player as well, boys and girls. He used to play with the Rounds Ice Wolves. And I want to introduce Devin Bernachez from Sauk River.
I'd like to present you with some tobacco, and I'd like to recognize former Vice Chief Kim Jonathan too for being here today with us. And katata the miskat no ako magana ki wani doti mak Devin Bernachez from Sias. We could see being though. I'm from Sauk River. I was born and raised in the Ranch, and I want to credit the Montreal Lake Cree Nation. Your role modeling of Treaty 6 and the celebration that we see here today. Good work with Montreal Lake Cree Nation. You're modeling for us from the Orange Band, and I bring greetings on behalf of Chief Tammy Cook-Searson. She's just leaving Saskatchewan, and she'll be here with us here shortly. I know she would love to be here. She's been busy. She recently lost her mother, so we're always thinking of Chief. Today is a special day, and when we talk about treaty, I think our principal said it well about this school being a part of treaty. I want to make mention to the elder who blessed us here, the drummers, and especially those young dancers. That is the revival of ceremony in Montreal Lake. I give you credit for your youth council, the young girls in the jingle dresses. Isn't that beautiful to see? The ceremony and young girls wearing skirts is back, and it's nice to see that here. I want to acknowledge our brothers and sisters from Peter Ballantyne Cree Nation, and the Red Coat, our friend Jared from the RCMP. And we have to build a relationship with the RCMP. We know in today's day that troubled times have come to our reserves. There's many violence, gang violence that we see today. We see the drugs and alcoholism in all of our communities. And we met yesterday with PAGC, and the Red Coats serve a good purpose, and we need to build relationships with them so that we can create safer communities. A big celebration today out of the Supreme Court, where C-92 and child welfare is brought back to our hands. So that's a victory for chiefs and councillors and First Nations across the country. That legislation is going to allow us to create bylaws and protect our children and families. So a great day in First Nations country today from the Supreme Court of Canada. I want to recognize our band member back there, Taryn Roberts. Taryn is a wealth of knowledge, and he's been sending that out. We have a Facebook page, a Chief James Roberts page, and I know he's doing good work. This is prevention. This is prevention. When we talk about identity, when we talk about our history, this is prevention. We know that we're doing good prevention work, and I really admire the beautiful timeline that you guys have in your gym. This is prevention, creating knowledge for our youth and for teachers and our non-Aboriginal brothers and sisters, for learning about treaty. This is prevention, so good job. I want to lastly just say that it'd be nice to get our Treaty 6 Adhesion Committee together again, Chief Joyce, and with PBCN, and maybe we can establish some more working relationship with Orange Band. I know I talked with Chief about that. And lastly, I want to thank our ancestors who thought about us. And I think it was Chief Poundmaker that said, let us not think about ourselves, but our future generations. And so they did. They didn't think about themselves. And today, now more than ever, we need to think about our future generations. And you are doing that here in Montreal Lake, and I credit you. And I want to acknowledge my FSIN Vice Chiefs, Dutch Larat and Craig McCollum, for the work that they're doing protecting treaty. They're our treaty protectors, and they're doing a great job. So with that, Dinigin and Askuman, aye.
Thank you very much, Sir Devin. Is this your phone? Dinigin and Askuman. Next, I'd like to call up our guest from northeast of us, another community that comes from Opawichikanik. I'd like to call up Elizabeth Michelle, Councillor Elizabeth Michelle.
Tinigam, kapiwisan ko ya, Opawichikanik mo sunida. Tinanas ko ako, nagabumaga unimito, wasto ka gabi, iuwichuta, ititawin mo. Good morning. We give thanks to the Creator for today, and I acknowledge the prayers and the invocation and the ceremony for the adhesion to Treaty 6 celebration. I am Elizabeth Michelle, Vice Chief of Peter Ballantyne Cree Nation, and council member for Pelicaneros. Dear elders, fellow leaders, chiefs, vice chiefs, councils of all treaty citizens, on behalf of Peter Ballantyne Cree Nation, we are honored to be a part of these celebrations. Chief Karen Bird extends her regrets for being unable to attend today due to important meetings with her membership. She sends a message that together, united and strong, and our treaties are sacred, that we have a solemn promise to our ancestors to protect treaty for our future generations. This is our duty, and together as treaty people, we will forever maintain this responsibility. For as long as the sun shines, the rivers flow and the grass grows, our treaties are sacred. Peter Ballantyne Cree Nation, PBCN, is a multi-community First Nation consisting of eight communities, and we have a vast traditional territory within Treaty 6 and Treaty 10. The territory covers 51,000 square kilometers in remote areas of northeastern Saskatchewan, separated by wide areas of forests, lakes, rivers, and miles of road. Our communities are geographically distant from one another. That makes it logistically challenging to deliver essential community services. We are the woodland Cree people of this territory. Our language and culture, way of life, is important to us. We are part of the land, and the land is a part of us. As signatories of the Adhesion of Treaty 6, we recognize that our health and well-being must align with the treaty promises of the famine, pestilence, and the medicine chest clause. Time and time again, we see the broken promises of the Crown for not honoring the treaty rights to health. Our people are suffering and hurting, and we will not stop advocating and pursuing our rights under treaty. Our nations have been at a disadvantage economically and socially. Many of our nations lack adequate housing, high levels of unemployment, remoteness, aging infrastructure, have high rates of chronic diseases and illnesses, mental health distress, alcohol and drug issues due to intergenerational traumas. Lack of funding to deliver much needed programs and services. Canada needs to meet us at the table to discuss and resolve these issues. Our people, the original people of the land, deserve a better quality of life, a life that newcomers and that the rest of Canada enjoys, from the rich resources in our treaty and traditional territories. In closing, as leaders with the guidance of our elders, we must keep protecting and talking about our treaty rights. We must teach the youth of today and tomorrow about treaty, so that they never forget the ancestral knowledge and responsibility of protecting our treaties. Before I end it off, hinunti nanaskuman dito, kapiwi sa memoya, ewan ni panaskini doan, nitani kapon, nitani doan tamu. So hopefully get a CD going on pretty soon. Neither one that one. Okay, we say thank you.
Hey, Elizabeth, before you go, I'm going to present you with a gift. And that's something down to the video. Oh, yeah. So thank you for your attendance here and your participation. Next, I'd like to call up Vice Chief from the Federation of Sovereign of Indigenous Nations. Sorry about that. That's Laurent. Vice Chief, that's Laurent.
Thank you, Roger. And good morning to all of our respected knowledge keepers, all of our elders that are here joining us today, and all of our leadership that are here in school, all of the warriors, the young warriors that are here, acknowledge your presence here, because you will be the ones that are sitting here in the years to come. Acknowledge all of the hard work that Montreal Lake School Board has done, and all of the staff that are here today to acknowledge this Treaty 6 adhesion, February 11th, 1889. Acknowledge all of the staff that are here, both from the Office of the Treaty Commissioner and, of course, the staff that are here, as well as the teachers. Acknowledge our drum group, keepers of our culture, and I want to bring you greetings on behalf of your organization, your FSIN, Federation of Saskatchewan Indian Nations, Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations, and all of the leadership that Montreal Lake has given towards the Federation FSIN. I want to as well acknowledge Simon. Where'd Simon go? Oh, there he is. Simon, yeah, he served in this capacity as well as a vice chief in your organization. The good work that he does and continues to do at the ground level. And of course, my sister Kim over here. Let me tell you something about her that not too many people know.
I am interested.
Was a leader within the Federation as well as the first vice chief, and for a number of years, and also the acting chief at our organization, interim, not acting.
No, I did not.
Oh, not acting. Interim. I stand corrected. And also, something that very little people know is she is a colonel, an honorary colonel in the North Saskatchewan Regiment. And that's an honor that's bestowed to our leadership for what they represent to our community. So thank you, Kim, for everything you do. Can you? So today we're here to celebrate Treaty 6 adhesion, as I indicated. And we're here to acknowledge our treaty rights. Office of the Treaty Commissioner, that's why that was created, to bring the settlers, the treaty signers of the day back in the day, and how important ceremony was to our people back then. Treaty 4 is where I'm from, and we signed in Fort Capel, where the TP is down there, to those of you that have been to Fort Capel. And one of the rights that we had negotiated there, our leaders of the day, was the treaty right to education. And it wasn't said we want education rights in the future, because we all enjoy those today on what they negotiated over there, and that is the spirit and intent. What did they mean? What did our old people mean? None of them could speak English. They had to rely on interpreters. So our leaders of the day negotiated, we want in the future, we know the future is we're going to, Montreal, our treaty co-signers, there's going to be more of them coming. And so we signed treaty to move on to reserve in order to guarantee our people, our youth, and those that are yet unborn, rights that would make sure that our people survived. One of them was treaty right to education, and that was in Fort Capel. The leadership down there, I believe it was 37 chiefs, negotiated what they call a little red schoolhouse on each reserve. And we have to remember that that is only physical. What they meant now in our day terms today is the treaty right to education. Each and every one of us, that is our right. Your children, your children's children, they will have that right because of the treaties that were signed back then. And that's what Treaty 6 adhesion, it brings all of those rights in. Treaties 1 through 11, they're all interconnected. If something was missed in Treaty 1, They caught it in Treaty 8, then everybody enjoyed that. One was medicine chest clause. Our leaders of the day knew that white man's diseases were coming along with the white man. So they wanted to make sure that our people we would have the medicine and the care to combat those diseases, because we had never had those diseases, heart disease, TB, we never had diabetes, and all of the diseases that are here challenging us. So they negotiated in Treaty 8 a medicine chest clause on each reserve, a medicine chest on every reserve. And that meant now, that is a treaty right to health. When you get sick, you get your health paid for. Our elders prepaid that, our leaders prepaid that to make sure we enjoy those treaty rights. And those are just two of the many treaty rights that we enjoy right now. And so we're here to celebrate, we're here to acknowledge the leadership, our Senator Ed Henderson, that's it, Ed Nolan, you got so many names, Martian. We acknowledge you and the leadership that you bring here, and so I acknowledge as well my colleague here, Vice Chief McCallum, and want to thank each and every one of you for stepping up on this wonderful day. And our treaties are alive and well, but it'll be the next generation, you students that are here, that are going to be carrying this, our fight, because our treaty rights are always going to be under attack. But we have good leadership now. We have excellent leadership through Chief Joyce and Council and the Youth Council. You know, that's very important. On behalf of Chief Bobby Cameron, Vice Chief Dave Pratt, and Vice Chief Ali Bear, bring your greetings. Have a wonderful day. Look forward to the fish dinner. And to all of the youth, Akamemo, don't give up. Stay in school, get that education. They will say,
Thank you, Liz. On behalf of our community, Montreal Cree Nation, they present through the gifts, so thank you very much. You guys hear grumbling noise, thunder, whatever? That's Mr. Glenn's belly. He's hungry. Folks, we're going to be treated to a good traditional meal, so let's be patient and we'll have a good meal here. I want to acknowledge former Chief Frank Roberts. He's in the back there. Frank, if you don't mind, please standing up. Stand up, please. Former Chief Frank Roberts. Good night. Thank you, Frank, for being here. Next, I'd like to call up Vice Chief from the Federation. I'd like to call up the new kid on the block. I'd like to call up Vice Chief Craig McCullough.
Good morning, everybody. I like going last because everything's been said already, so my speech is usually pretty short. I was actually bugging Simon. He said everything I was going to say. It's like he's been here before, but some things about your principal, Simon. He actually taught me when I was a young man. He taught me Native Studies in Meadow Lake, and at the time, I was taking history and Native Studies at the same time. So upstairs I'd be in history class and they'd be telling me about Columbus and how Canada was discovered and how Canada was formed, Confederation, all of this different stuff. And then I'd go downstairs and go into Mr. Bird's Native Studies class. And all of a sudden he was telling me that that's all wrong. That's a lie. And he was telling me the real truth. And I'd go back upstairs and I'd have this other teacher telling me the same thing, telling me a different story. And it was hard because I had not learned the true history. This was my first time learning the true history of our people in the education system that I grew up in. And so it makes me proud to see your nation doing what they can to try and give you that education from a young age in the school, everything that they do is to try and build up the young people. It's nice to see young people here taking part in this and being here to bear witness on a special day. This day is important. We talked about the treaty right to education, and the question was, what did they mean? What did our chiefs mean? What did our leaders mean when they were sitting across that table? They said, we want our children to be educated like you, like the white man. Well, they were sitting across the table from a man, Alexander Morris, who had a degree, a bachelor's degree in arts, and a degree in law from the University of McGill. They were sitting across the table from a lawyer. They were sitting across the table from educated men. That's what they meant. One of the things they said, people said up here already, it's been said that our treaty rights, they're constantly under attack. And one of the things that I've taken on and the baton that I've picked up is the treaty right to post-secondary education. Because it is a right, but it's not recognized as such. And this is a fight that started back in 1911. Chiefs from Saskatchewan went to Ottawa and they said, we need post-secondary education. We need advanced education. We want our own university. So over 100 years later, we're still fighting for this. We're still fighting for those rights, and that's why I'm so happy to see so many young people here, because these are fights that are going to last a long time. They're going to go on for a long time. Our rights are constantly going to be under attack, but it's up to you to learn the history. Read those stories. Talk to your old people, these leaders up here. Talk to people around you that know more than you. Because one day you're going to be sitting up here. One day you're going to be standing up here. It's important that you carry that knowledge on. You pick up that baton when you're ready, and you carry it as far as you can for the people that are going to come after you. That's all we can do in life. Just try to make the road a little bit easier for the people that come after us. That's what our ancestors wanted. That's what they envisioned. That's why they negotiated the way that they did when they signed treaty. Before I go, I just want to make sure I acknowledge everybody, all the leadership, the elders for the prayer, Iron Swing for the songs and opening us up that way, all the leadership for welcoming me back into your community. I've been here a couple times now, and I love coming here. It's you get a different feeling. It feels a lot like home from where I'm from. But with that, thank you, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the day, and get on.
Thank you, Lady Chief. Present you with a gift, so thank you very much. Craig, I think this is yours, Lady Chief. Next, I'd like to call up Councillor Carol Natawha. Where is Carol? Carol's right here. Yeah, folks will be in here soon, so just bear with us. We're just about done. Councillor Carol.
Good morning, everyone. I do want to say thank you to our elder for saying a prayer for us for this day. Thank you to our drummers for blessing us with their songs. I do want to acknowledge everyone who is here, all our guests, our leadership that's here. Thank you for coming to Montreal Lake. I know this is a really big event, and it's always something that our nation, as Chief was saying 3 years ago, we were saying, we should do something for February 11th. So we did that year, and we decided every year we'll make it a holiday, and we'll also hold a celebration. So this is the third year, and I had no idea what it was all going to be planned for today, but I was just excited because it's really important. As my job, leadership, and council, that's one of the things that that's the main thing that I do, is a push for, treaty rights to be recognized and implemented. And when it's not, that's when you have to lobby more. Well, this is our treaty right. So I think about our ancestors. I acknowledge them, give thanks to them for thinking about us, thinking about the next 7 generations. We had no idea what everything that they were going through on that single day on February 11th, 1889. We have no idea what happened the day before or the week before. But all we know is that they thought about us. They thought about the next 7 generations. They didn't think about themselves. They didn't think about themselves for the next week, for the next year. And to me, that's probably the biggest thing, the most heartwarming thing I can think about from our treaty signing, is that they were selfless. And not only did they think about, they actually thought about us in different aspects. Our health, our education, and they didn't cap it at just something. They made it where it was much bigger, much bigger. They couldn't see the future, but they knew that we were going to need it. They knew that we were going to use it. And they knew that we were going to take care of it and protect it. So I really want to acknowledge and give thanks to our ancestors for their work that they've done. And one of the main things one of our speakers was talking about said the spirit and intent of treaty. When I think about the spirit and intent of treaty, I think about the spirit. Every single one of us, it's in us. Treaty is in every one of us. It's our job, it's our role and responsibility to take care of it. I really wanted to share that with you guys. And the reason why I had to share that part is because one of our treaty rights, as Vice Chief was saying, the government, we're always under attack. We're always under, where slowly our treaty rights are being taken, one thing at a time, slowly, slowly, slowly. So it's our job to make sure that they are not taken. So one thing that's on the table right now, and you hear it across Canada, you hear it everywhere. Every single day we hear it. And we make jokes about it. And it's our cows and plows. That's our treaty right. That's being brought to the table. And a treaty right that hasn't been recognized for years. And where somebody was saying, you need to recognize this treaty right. So right now, one of the things that I would like to share is as it's being brought to the table, we need to remember the next 7 generations, just like our ancestors remembered us and thought about us. Every few months, I find something new within our treaty, and I'm constantly looking, because I'm a teacher by trade, and I just kind of always wanted to learn. So the latest thing that I've learned was my brother Nathan is actually going to university in Saskatchewan at the First Nations University, and he said to me, he said, "Carol, I didn't know Duncan Bird signed our treaty." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Well, that's what my professor was just talking about." And so I told him, I said, "Well, did she share any information with you? Paper?" And he said, "Yeah, this is the website we're reading from." So I was kind of looking at it, because I'm like, why does it say Duncan Bird signed our treaty? So in this actual document, it does say that. And And I was just like, no, that's wrong. He said, well, that's what I was telling her, but she said, no, it says here Duncan Bird. And I said, no, well, that's where you challenge her. Tell her to go and do her research. You know, she's the one who has to research if she's teaching university students. So from there, I was like, okay, I'm gonna find a quick document just to show you. So I searched and I found a document. I was like, wait, I never read this one before. So as I read it, it was actually an archive from the Black Laurent band, and it was a dialogue, you know, of the treaties. And it was taken from 3 different perspectives where, you know, what was actually said at the treaty signing. And it was pretty interesting because in the dialogue it says there, Chief William Charles is talking and he says, no, we're not farmers, we don't need cows and plows, we don't need that, you know? So that's what Chief William said in this dialogue. And later on, you know, during the dialogue, Headman Benjamin Bird is the one who said, no, we'll use that, you know, but in this form, you know, they're still going to use it. So I was like filling in our chief with that information, and she said, oh, so we almost never had cows and plows? But yeah, there's just little information there that I never knew about, and that was just a week ago that I found that one. And as I was reading through this dialogue, Chief William Charles, towards the end, says, you know, what we all need. So there's actually flour, tea, tobacco, and bacon, you know, to receive these yearly. And so that's something that I'm researching now, because I was kind of like, what? I've never heard of, you know, I heard before where someone got flour, you know, but I've never actually found documentation for Montreal Lake to receive that. So now, yeah, always learning about treaty, always researching, because that is our job to protect it. And for our younger generations who are still here, thank you for sitting here and listening to all of our speakers, because this is really important stuff, and even though sometimes it seems like you're not listening, I know you are listening, so thank you for that. And all our guests and our visitors here, thank you, our elders, thank you. And this committee, the Treaty 6, the committee who put all of this together, thank you for this hard work, because you know it can be an idea, and an idea needs to flourish as with a team. So I'm grateful that our education program, our prevention program, and our Cree language committee all stepped up together to ensure this event was successful. So thank you to our hunters, our cooks who are cooking right now. I apologize if I miss anybody, but thank you, Roger. Thank you for emceeing for us all the time, doing a great job. FSIN. And our Senator Nolan here. Abel Charles is also here. I just wanted to say a quick thing with Abel Charles. He's with NBC. Montreal Cree Nation is going to be one of the first nation that's going to be utilizing our kids to speak Cree on NBC monthly now. As one of our goals is to revitalize our language. So with our youth center and our Cree program here. So I wanted to give thanks to Abel for that opportunity. Yep, thank you. I could stay up here talking all day, but thank you all.
I'm Carol. I present you with a gift here. For those of you that may or may not know, Carol is the single lady. I want to present her the slinging blanket. So thank you, Carol. Oh yeah, we have another chief in the crowd here. I'd like to introduce Chief Malo Bird from Cusco. Malo, can you please stand? Chief Malo Bird. Next, I'd like to call up Councillor Troy Dana. Troy Dana, come up to the podium, please.
say good morning, everyone. I'm glad everyone made it out here. I know there's a lot to be said here, and listening to all the wisdom here with our guests and everyone that made it out today to celebrate today with us. I want to first off acknowledge our elder for the opening prayer. Thank you for that. Thank you for our special guest and Iron Sling over there. It's always powerful when you walk in a ceremony like that. I don't know what it is. It's just when the drum's going, it's just beautiful. It makes you feel powerful and strong. And it's good medicine. I got up there to go grab a coffee, and I come back, and one of our guests are in my seats. That's why I was kind of in the background over there, but that's fine. Our guests come first here. My second time meeting Craig too. So I was actually looking up at these the signs up there, the pictures. And I was with former Chief Frank Roberts there, seeing where's this, where's that. It's still a learning curve for me as well. I know the new church and the old church and where was the church before that, and it's good to ask questions and just it's good history there. I know I was brought up where they said there was 4 houses over here, and then the school here. They started with a gym, and then they just kept adding wings to it. It's good history, and I'm glad to listen, and I don't listen very often, but when it comes to history, it's interesting, and I listen very well. I just thank you for all the speeches this morning. Thank you everyone for coming here. I want to say thank you to Bev and her committee, the steering committee there that made this possible. She's done a lot of work, and then I know a couple weeks ago I was meeting with Cree language, and then the committee was there as well. And they kept telling stories of how, where the All Society was, and how they came about, and where they're coming in different groups on Slade. You see, that stuff I was listening to, it is very interesting. So there's some stories there that were, I liked, and I was looking at this picture trying to put them together. It's very beautiful to the mirror history. I noticed on February 11th, 1889, and I believe our 36th was 1887, so 17 years later, I believe, our adhesion. So it's very good that our ancestors kept working hard to make it happen. So and they did it for us, and I'm glad. I had some stuff written down here. Just give me one sec. I know I don't usually look at speeches here, but sometimes I forget to thank people like Mungo. Thank you, our MC. Thank you, Gerald, for all your hard work here. Our special guests and our cooks, always working hard. Our young dancers here, the Youth Chief and Council. I'm glad you guys are here, and I'd like to see how you're running your Chief of Council there. So maybe we can go visit you in one of your council meetings and see how everything works there. I want to say good job to our hunting group. They took a bunch of our land base here, took a bunch of elders, our young children to go get a moose last week. I know because I was texting Dean and I was texting the other guys, did you get one? Did you get one? I was supposed to go hunting with them, then I got put in a meeting, so I went to a meeting and I was just excited for them to get a moose, and they got one for this special event. And all the workshops in the back, I thank you for presenting today. As you drove into the community here, you will see one of our medallions with our Montreal logo. I think we put that up this year, this summer. Don McKay, our band manager, was a big part of that, and I thank you for that. I think we put the number up there because they didn't know, and we were trying to get our numbers right, so it's 1886. Don brought that to us, so we approved it, all good to go. Next thing you know, I get a call. Hey, there's the sign's coming. I was like, okay. Next thing you know, I'm looking after the project for the next 4 days, so I'm glad to be a part of that one. And I just want to say thank you for everyone for making it out today. I know they're going to be serving lunch here soon, and I hope everyone has safe travels, and thank you to all the special guests. Thank you.
Thank you, Troy. Present you the last one. Troy mentioned 1886, I think, but I think treaty was signed in 1876, right? 1876, not an adhesion, just Treaty 6. Next, I'd like to call up one of our young people to the podium here, please. He's currently our youth chief here for Montreal Cree Nation. I'd like to call up Miss Mary Alcott.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to acknowledge the elder for the prayers, Gerald and the drummers, the dancers, and all our visitors from their home fires. I want to say thank you to the staff education staff for all the work for the special ceremony. On behalf of our youth chief council, I wish you a good day and safe travels home. Hi, Tinigay.
Hey, Mary, just 1 second. I want to ask the chief to present you with a gift. Or Kim. Chief? Chief, present the gift to the chief. Hi. Thank you, Mary. I think we're pretty much done our youth, but before we eat, I'm going to ask my co-MC Nolan to come on up here and say a few words. And if you guys have a good memory, originally we set aside August 4th to the 9th for the annual Malanosa Cultural Days. August 4th to the 9th, and we moved it back to the week of 11th to the 16th, but now we're going to move it back to the original date because Tony Cody summer games are being held in Laurent. They're hosted by the Lac Laurent Indian Band the week of August 10th to the 18th. Those are the Tony Cody summer games. They're held every 2 years now. Used to be every year, so they're held every 2 years. And Lac Laurent Indian Band are hosting the games this year. So it looks like we're going to go back to August 4th to the 9th for the Malanosa Days. So. Office of the Treaty Commissioner, this is their work in the back where Simon is standing. But let's give a round of applause. The folks are in the back there. So let's give a round of applause and thank you for your attendance here today. So we're going to ask Nolan to say a few words and also to maybe ask someone to render us the prayer, that blessing of the food. So I'll turn it over to Nolan.
Thank you, my co-MC. I'd like to say he's our MC for this event and MC for many, many events. Roger, kinutin nas kumit ito mana kami do big screen o di ko minahilo kami do palita yung sisigi. I'd like to thank Roger for MCing today, but I also like to thank him for the many events that he MCs. And, Roger, yung stay even to get nas kumitaro o get nas kumit. Yung tatuiwe. So I'd just like to thank Roger for all the many things that he's emceed for us here. So with that, as we go along here, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to feed people, and then we'll try to tell the story as best as we can, given the kind of information that we have learned about. And so while you're eating, we'll be up here trying to tell the story as it unfolded, as it unfolds for us. And because there's many, many parts of it. And, our people were well prepared to sign this treaty. And, so I guess that's where I'll leave off for now. We'll have rendering of a prayer. We'll be bringing up people to come and tell the story as we have learned it. So with that, Tinigi, okay, I'd like to ask one of our elders, our family member, Melinda, is Tamista Moya, Mabbicho Gandhi, Natural Wisdom. So, Jenny. Okay, with that, then we'll get the tables set up for, it will be amongst chairs, so we'll just set up the tables as we can see fitting together there. Thank you. Arrival. After that, they shook hands. This was before government imposed bad elected leaderships, chief and council. So the headmen of the community who attended to were heads of families. This is important to understand that bad elections came later. The government needed to sign with one person. The Treaty Commissioner wanted to negotiate with Montreal Lake, Lac La Ronge to share the land. It is said that in the negotiations, all that we agreed to was to share with them was the dry land, and everything in the water remains ours. Everything to do with the water remains ours. They did not want anything to do with beaver, fish, muskrats, and other. Two chiefs were selected whom the government representatives could confirm with in the negotiations. William Charles was introduced as the chief of Montreal Lake Band, and James Roberts was introduced as the chief of the Lac La Ronge Indian Band. The chiefs then introduced their councillors. Those of Chief William Charles was Benjamin Byrd, Isaac Byrd, Patrick Byrd, and Moses Byrd. The councillors of James Roberts are Amos Charles, Joseph Charles, Elias Roberts, and John Cook.
Okay, just to help Nolan finish off what he was talking about. So the commissioner was only prepared to be paying each man and woman and child $12. $12, because that's all he was authorized to pay by the government at that time. But he would report back to Ottawa what they now asked for. It was also requested to have a school on each reserve. Councillor Benjamin Byrd had said that he would accept the terms of the treaty, but also expected arrears. The chiefs expressed that they would not like cattle, as they had no means of looking after them. James Roberts spoke regarding the cattle. They would like to receive 1 bull, 3 cows, 1 ox, and they would like to take pigs, as mentioned in the treaty, an instructor to teach them farming. 3 3 plows, okay, 3 plows, 2 scythes, not really sure what they are, but I'm sure it's something to do with the groundbreaking equipment. 1 for each family. The value of the articles they did not receive under the treaty stipulations in ammunition and twine. A horse harness and a wagon was not wanted as they would be new to use, would be new and no use to them. They wanted 1 tent, 1 stove, 4 sets of dog harness. The chief, James Roberts, was paid $32 and the band members were paid at $12 for every man, woman and child. And the headman received $22 for a total of $3,396 to the James Roberts band, 30 sacks of flour, 1,000 pounds of bacon, 80 pounds of tea, and 75 pounds of tobacco. The 278 Indians of the William Charles Band, 94 Indians at $12.01 to 532 for head. Monday, $22 totaling $12.48, that's $1,248. That amount paid for the 11,066 miles of land was 4,644 to the William Charles Band, 23 sacks of flour, 736 pounds of bacon, 50 pounds of tea, 46 pounds of tobacco. The chiefs and headmen were measured for their clothing, and as soon as Mr. Goulet finished issuing script to the Métis, they started home on their journey. They left in the afternoon of February 14th. The Indians shook hands and business goodbye by firing off their rifles as a parting salute. So there you have it, folks, a little bit of history on the adhesion of Treaty number 6 that took place February 11th, 1889 in Montreal, Saskatchewan. So, kasi, nasakit na diyaw siya maginoon kanila week, yung mga biwing week, isitos kagig, kamuso na siya focus mo na todo, nasakit na biwing week, yung kaya abit siya, no English mo, Charlotte Ross will be big screens, talk about her, some of the work that they're doing in the language, work that they're doing. But before that, Nolan sees it at a big screen before Charlotte comes up here.
Thanks, Roger. I just want to elaborate a little bit more on some of the points made here with the Commissioner's report to Ottawa. For example, I just want to let you know that the script that is being talked about, the script that was paid to the Métis that were in attendance. Napitaw mo sa salak. Kigoy wistawa, ikot kagi kaskuhuak. Iusiya ko ba, inuti kisita atyo mo inikot na, wistawa, kiksan nawak, our families, the Métis also benefit from the Treaty Commissioner coming here. They got script. What that means is they got pieces of land that they were given receipts. They were given these sheets to entitle them to some land. So that's what we're talking about there, and that's mentioned in our treaty, in the report by the Commissioner. So I just wanted to elaborate on that because there is some significance to that and some importance, especially to some of our families in this room. Kistano is walk with Kina notice. I think I was so I just wanted to make that additional comment. So yeah, go Kinigi, now pass it on to Charlotte now. Kinigi, Charlotte.
So we have a map that we're going to showcase here just over lunchtime. Muni also right in the that's our Life Spark app. So that's our logo, that's our statement. So put it first, put our Cree language first. So I have a few people from our committee that I can thank that are here, our committee members here in the committee. So Melinda Wastaige, Betsy Wastaige, Nolan is here, he just joined us recently. And I think Glenn is here as well, Conrad Wastaige, Bev Wastaige, and there might be a few others that are missing. Maswa. So Maswa Wastaige. And I don't know if Patsy's in the room or Jennifer or Simpson, but there's a few of us on the steering committee. And so what we're doing is we're exercising our treaty right to language. We're not waiting for anybody to come and show us how to do it, we're doing it. And so I'm doing my PhD in Indigenous Language Revitalization at the University of Victoria. I'm a band member for Montreal Lake. So I'm a band member to Montreal Lake, and just thankful to have the committee to work with, to bounce ideas around, to laugh with. And Sinaphan is our technician, so she's just going to show us here some of how the language app works. And it's in the middle of development. We're still finalizing a lot of our audio recording, but we will hear late Arnold. He sat with us for as long as he was in council and was just really generous with sharing language. So if you have language, it's a gift to share, it's not ours to hoard. And so if you speak language, share it out with anybody. John Henry was sitting with us, so we're gonna get him to do some recordings of shit. So I just want to thank everybody for that, and I'll turn it back to Roger.
Thank you, Charlotte. Just hang on, she's not done yet, hang on. Okay, for those of you that didn't get a sticker like this from Charlotte, put your hand up, we have a jigging demonstration by Chief and Conrad anyhow. Somebody's going to do a jigging presentation, not to scare anybody off. In closing remarks, and we'll have a closing prayer. And I believe we have more door prizes as well. So bear with us, folks. We've got quite a bit of activities to take part in there. So with that, I'll turn it over to Charlotte.
Alrighty, so we're just getting set up here to show you a video. Just bear with us. If you can't see, just come on this side, come closer to this area. The app is called LifeSpark, and you'll be able to access it on an Android phone or an Android device. We'll also be making one for Apple users. So this one is for Android, and it's in the woodland Cree dialect.
On February the 11th, okay, back in 1889, must have been a cold, crisp day. The journey was made through a severe snowstorm. A 4-day journey through a storm went through Sturgeon Lake, Red Deer Lake, Beaver Lake, Darn Lake, Trout Lake, and down Trout River across to the north end of Montreal Lake. They never used horses before. This was the first time they ever laid eyes on horses. The mode of transportation was by canoe in the summer, dogs in the winter. The meeting was scheduled to be at Molnosa, Franks Point. They came to the edge of the lake to meet the government representatives / commissioners. According to their custom, they fired their rifles in honor of our arrival. After that, they shook hands. This was before government imposed band-elected leaderships, the chief and council. So the headmen of the community whom attended to meeting were heads of families. This was important to understand. Band elections came after. They came later. The government needed to sign with one person. The government needed to sign with a representative. The treaty commissioner wanted to negotiate with the Montreal Lake and Lac La Ronge to share the land. It is said that the negotiations, all that we agreed to was with them was the dry land. Everything in the water remains ours. Everything to do with the water remains ours. They did not want anything to do with the beaver, the fish, the muskrats, and otters. 2 chiefs were selected whom the government representatives could confirm with in the negotiations. William Charles was introduced as the chief of Montreal Lake Band. James Roberts was introduced as the chief of Lac La Ronge Indian Band. The chiefs then introduced their councillors. Those of William Charles was R. Benjamin Bird, Isaac Bird, Patrick Bird, Moses Bird. Councillors of James Roberts was Amos Charles, Joseph Charles, Elias Roberts, and John Cook. So these were the people that were going to meet with the commission. The commissioner was only prepared to pay each man, women, and child $12, because that's all he was authorized to pay. He would report back to Ottawa what they now asked for. It was also requested to have a school on each reserve. Councillor Benjamin Bird said that he would accept the terms of the treaty, but expect arrears. The chiefs expressed that they would not lake cattle as they had no means of looking after them. James Roberts spoke regarding the cattle. They would like to receive 1 bull, 3 cows, 1 ox, and they would like to take pigs. As mentioned in the treaty, and it's an instructor to teach them farming. So the listing of 3 plows, 2 scythes, 1 for each family, the value of articles they did not receive under the treaty stipulation, in ammunition and twine. A horse harness and wagon was not wanted, as they would be new and no use to them. They wanted 1 tent, 1 stove, and 4 sets of dog harnesses. The chief, James Roberts, was then paid $32, and the band members were paid at $12 for every man, woman, and child. And the headman received $22 for a total of $3,396. To the James Roberts Band, 30 sacks of flour, 1,000 pounds of bacon, 80 pounds of tea, 75 pounds of tobacco. The 278 Indians of the William Charles Band, 94 Indians at $12.01 to 532 to the head. Monday, $22, totaling $1,248. The amount paid for the 11,066 square miles of land, 4,644 to the William Charles Band, 26 sacks of flour, 736 pounds of bacon, 50 pounds of tea, 46 pounds of tobacco. The chiefs and headmen were measured for their clothing. As soon as Mr. Goulet finished issuing script to the Métis. So the Métis also were part of this. They were paid script. What does that mean? Well, they were given each a sheet of paper outlining where their land was to be given to them. Paid script. So the chiefs and headmen were measured for their clothing. And so the teachers in our case took one night out and made these clothing that are being displayed by our students to represent the clothing that our people, our leaders, wanted for that time frame. And so we may ask one of them to, the one in the green there, to stand up. This is the issue that was made just lately, a couple of nights ago. The one in the green, center to me, or any one of them. Pasagov. So this is the garment that was asked for. Pretty simple. They started home on their journey This is talking about all the people that were in attendance of that event on the 11th. They parted a couple of days after visiting, celebrating the inauguration, celebrating the signing of the adhesion to Treaty number 6. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give these young people a hand. So the Indians shook hands, and business was said goodbye to by firing off their rifles as a parting salute.
But that's when they do their calls, eh?
So that's the reenactment of that day, and I'd like to thank you.
Good job, Noel. Take a bow.
Good job, good job. Let's give the students a round of applause. And to our Indian agent in white hair. Good job, Andrew. Okay, we have, we're still done, folks. We've got another couple events to take place. We've got powwow demonstration is next.
A couple new dancers, the Smith girls. We want to welcome into our dance troupe. And the rest of the girls have gone to many powwows. And so they're just going to show off their dancing skills. I have 5 jingle dressers and jingle dancers and 5 fancy songs. So if we can open the lights, the girls don't want to dance up there. They say it's too scary. Okay, girls, come on down. Okay, come girls. Hasta me. The drum is ready. I'll get Gerald to take over.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. It's going to be a wonderful time for dancers here this afternoon. I'm going to explain briefly as the dance styles that they have here. And one of the 2 categories that I see are our jingle dress and our fancy shawl. So we'll go up with our fancy shawl first dancers. Jingle dress dancers, we'll ask you guys to stay to the side. Want to hear a tribal song? Let's give them a round of applause. Oh, yes. See, there is a traditional rule that dancers must follow, as well as the singers. They have a friendly competition when we're out on the powwow trail. The dancers will try to dance on cue, on beat, right through the entire song. And if they do that without the drum throwing them off, then the dancers category of the side wins that small competition that they have between each other. But if the drum throws off a dancer, then that drum takes the honor for that particular category for the day. That's the friendly engagement that they have for each other as well. The drum itself represents Mother Earth, the heartbeat of Mother Earth. That drum there is made out of moose hide. We see the singers in that drum, they drag the energy from Mother Earth to give to you. For many who had first heard the drum in their life, one thing that particularly happens, they feel that energy. The hairs on the back, their neck stands up, that rush of spirituality. Well, our people call that, Iwanskai, awakening of that spirit. So that's why that drum is so powerful, when the healing entity that we have for all our people across Turtle Island. Those singers that sing there, they are songs that were passed down from them generation to generation, and they're stories. The stories of the dance, the stories of our past and our history, as well as the prayers that come with that. So at this time, we're going to go straight into the second part for our Fancy Shawl. Come on in, Fancy Shawl dancers. And this will be a second song, contemporary song, singer's choice. And here we go. Roha. Dance styles to ever dance. The calves and your legs and your muscles will really be tested, the energy, and we're only giving them half songs instead of the 4 full. But as the tiny tots get older, they're going to be dancing like the older ones, and they will become professionals in their own right. But this is why we have our tiny tot category, is to help them learn and see and educate and the different styles that they too are going to be learning as they get older. So with that, I want to thank the Fancy Shawl dancers. Let's give them a round of applause. All right. Up next we have the Jingle Dress Dancer. This story goes by the name of a woman, Maggie White. Kayas, she had a child who was very sickly. They were accepting that this baby was going to leave this world onto the spirit world. This one night she had a dream. And in that dream it had instructed her, this is what I want you to do to this style. This is how I want you to make this style of dress. These are the steps that I want you to use. And in return, in the early 60s, this style was born. It is now considered one of our medicine dancers. These dancers here, as they get older, they're going to have to undergo certain ceremonies to be given the right to carry the purse. That purse ceremony is right, they'll have tobacco there. The people from out there will bring tobacco to these jingle dress dancers, the older ones. As they dance out there, they'll be praying with that tobacco for healing. This medicine dance is one of the most powerful dances, but at the same time, one of the most beautiful dance styles that we have. Each bell on their dress represents one day of the year, out of the year. So that is 360 bells that they will be carrying by the time they get to the adulthood. So with that iron swing, we're going to give them a straight song for our jingle dress medicine dance. Yeah. Beautiful round for these young women and our babies that are up here. This particular jingle dancer, they carry the apron. They dance the old style of the jingle dress dancers. There is a new style, contemporary style, and they're the ones that carry the fan. So these young ladies, they follow suit with that old traditional style jingle style way of dancing. All right, I'll give them a few breaths to catch up. The regalia that they carry could weigh anywhere between 50 pounds to 100 pounds in full regalia. And they have a long journey to be Huska to our people. And they'll learn the protocols as they get older and the meaning behind that, the healing and the style that we'll be giving back to all our First Nations and our non-First Nations people. So the next song will be a sidestep for our jingle dress dancers. The girls love the sidestep. It's one of the hardest dances contemporary as well. And I know our two vets here have been out on the Power Trail for quite a while. They know this style, and the little ones will follow suit with them. Yeah, come on this way, babies. Come this way, yeah. Yeah, there we go. The side step is a little faster in the represent of the round dance, but this is we call this a side step. Dancers, when they go around the arbor, and if you look up and towards down, it'll illuminate like as of the sun ray. That is why that is so powerful, because we honor the four elements that keep us alive. That's the wind, water, earth, and the sun. So we don't pray to them, we honor them, and we give them thanks for helping with Dawinam Xmanto, for giving us that breath of air, the warmth, as well as the nutrients. So with that, iron swing, side step. Thank you, dancer. Oh yes, these girls have a long ways to go, and already they're becoming professionals in their own right. Yeah, as you can see that. I'm no longer a jingle dress dancer, I'm kind of fat. But I am a traditional dancer as well. There are categories for each of our dance for both the men and the women. And on our women's side, we have our women's fancy, our women's jingle, and our women's traditional. I know we have a traditional dancer in here by the name of Tiffany Ross. She dances too as well, so I'll get her out here to come and dance. Oh yeah, you're in full skirt, let's go. She's like, no, we don't want to. And on the men's side, we have our men's fancy bustle, our men's grass, our men's chicken, and of course, our men's traditional. And someday we'll get started at, and one of our specialty dancers is our hoop dancer. And we have our very own hoop dancer that's been representing Montreal Lake for many, many years now by the name of Bert Bird. He has traveled throughout the world to demonstrate his dance. And he has seen so many different cultures. I remember when Bert first came out many, many years ago. And it had really, really grew so much love for him and what he does for us and how he represents us as a Cree nation, particularly Montreal Lake. And this is his passion. The hoop dancer is one of our, what we call our sun dancers for our dreams and as well as our to bring good spirit within the home. This dancer here, Bert, has many, many rings, and each ring it kind of represents what we could call a dream catcher. That ring alone brings good spirits and good feelings to our homes and to our families. That's how they heal. And this is a non-bustle dancer. This dance is one of the most unique, powerful dances that we have in display in regards to that the eagle or the thunderbird. And you will see that as he starts to build up onto that. Let's give Bert a round of applause. There we go. Straight song, iron swing, let's go. saw him. He started off with a few hoops. Eventually, now he's in full regalia. Ready to go. Right on, Bert. Man, makes me feel proud. So with that, I want to thank you guys very much. Let's give Iron Swing a round of applause. One of our top drums in North America. These boys, my brothers, have been in and it's true, they've been singing for many, many years. And when we got started for Pascuas Creek Singers years ago, it was these boys that helped us out. So I love them for that. So with that, we'll hand the mic back over to Uncle.
Right on, Gerald. Thank you very much. Now we're going to ask Mr. Glenn to do a demonstration of the Macarena. Just kidding, sorry, Glenn. Picking on Glenn here all afternoon. Anyways, I'm going to ask one of our visiting chiefs to come on up here and say a few words. I know she's just arrived here. I know she's eating. I'm rushing her already, so I apologize, but I'm going to call up Chief Tammy Cooks here to come and say a few words, please. Chief Cook.
Good afternoon. It's a real honor to be here at the Montreal in Montreal Lake. And I also want to acknowledge your losses recently. Shirley Henderson, our Women's Commission member. And I want to offer my condolences to Senator. You know, she was a huge part of our organizations. And I know you've also had other losses here in the community, so I want to acknowledge the losses that you've had. And I just recently lost my mom too, not even a month ago. So it's hard to lose your rock of the family that keeps the families together. So I just want to acknowledge that. Now I want to thank Chief Joyce and your council for putting on the celebration for Treaty 6. And I understand the students were up here doing the treaty enactment, and that was so nice, and having the dinner, and all the dignitaries here at the Naskmon. And I apologize, I double booked myself today. And this morning I had a meeting with Dr. Mendez. He's the head surgeon for the University of Saskatchewan, and he's also working on doing virtual health, which means bringing like ultrasounds, X-rays, right to the community so we don't have to travel as much. So they were demonstrating that, and it's something that we want to bring to La Ronge and Stanley Mission and other communities. So we're going to be meeting with him and our council, and they'll do a demonstration. So I didn't want to, he already had it set up, and then, so I asked Councillor Devin to be here. So thank you so much, Councillor Devin, for being here, for the band. Thank you. And we have band members here too. We have Elder Abel, Donna's here, and we have Taryn, who's one of our, he does all the research for Treaty 6 Adhesion, and then we also have Hope and Sam that are also always doing research. And oh, I don't recognize everybody. My glasses are, sorry. Okay, but anyway, I'm really happy to be here, and treaties are so important. When we sign treaties, we call them Tipahamatuin, and I was thinking about Montreal Lake. It's, because we couldn't say, it's actually Montreal, because we say, when we say Montreal, we're referring to a Caucasian person. And then we also had, so we had Montreal, and we had Wimistiwosho, which means Wimistiwosho is the person that comes from the wooden boat, and Montreal is from Montreal, must be from the east side, maybe the other side, I don't know how the history goes, but there's a lot of history, and treaties are so important for us to acknowledge where we come from, and the strength, and what our forefathers saw. And the treaty, I know there's probably a lot of people that talked about the treaties, and you know the sign, it says, as long as the sun shines, the grass grows, and the rivers flow. You know, that's what they understood, and they understood that to be like forever. That the treaties was a partnership, And the enactment, I didn't get a chance to see it, but I've read some history to it, and I've learned history over the years. I've been with the band for almost 30 years now. So I've had that honor to be able to work for our communities that long and to learn the histories and to learn from our elders. And I was thinking, even Senator Alan Bird, I worked with him. I worked with him when I was a councillor, and I worked with him when I was chief. I worked with Senator Miles Venn. I had a chance to work with him too and see him in action in meetings. And they always had really wise counsel and wise advice. I remember Senator Allen, even like the former chiefs from Montreal Lake, PBCN, L'Orange Band, you know, just having that leadership and the elders. I used to travel with elders too all the time. I used to travel with Elder Catherine Charles from L'Orange, Elder Elizabeth Charles from Stanley Mission. You know, I would share hotel rooms with them and just travel with them. And that's how you learn. You start to learn that way. And I remember Senator Alan Bird said to me, he said, whenever like wherever you're invited, be there as much as you can. Like even if you get invited overseas or wherever, if you get invited places, just take that opportunity and just go. And then even Senator Miles Venn, late Senator Miles Venn, I sat with him on many meetings, and sometimes we would take long debating on an issue, like you know, sometimes you can talk on one issue for hours and hours, and sometimes he would just like hit the table and say, make up your mind. Just to get on, like make a decision and move on, because there's so many other issues to talk about. But he was also very kind. I got to visit him, and he'd always used to say, "Kada pagit noeg da nog timitsod." You know, he just like always make sure that people have enough food. Like that's what he told me. He said, you know, that was one of the things that really stuck with me. Just to always make sure that there's food security, and if people ask you to help them, to find a way to help them. And just, you know, there's always things that you learn from past leaders and, you know, the current leadership and the new leadership. I learned a lot from them too, like Councillor Devin, we have 12 councillors from L'Orange Band. Like in Grandmother's Bay, we have Councillor Gerald McKenzie. And then in Stanley Mission, we have 3 councillors there. We have Councillor Linda Charles, Councillor Jimmy Charles, Councillor Robin McKenzie. And in Sucker River, we have Councillor Devin Bernatches. And in L'Orange, we have 4 councillors there. So we have Councillor Ann Ratt, Councillor Sam Roberts, Councillor Charlene Venn, and we have Councillor Dean Roberts. And in Hall Lake, we have Councillor Norman Ross. And in Little Red here, just past here, we have 2 councillors there. They've been there for a long time. We have Councillor John Boy Helkin and Councillor Keith Morasti. So those are our councillors. And part of our council too, we have Council of Elders. So each of our councillors appoint Council of Elders. So we always have that guidance in our meetings. We also have Senator Cook that's been with us, our former chief. So we have a lot of leadership at our tables, just to remind us to always remember who we serve, and we do the best of our ability to serve our community members. And I also want to acknowledge there's a little boy here, little Ron. Oh, there he is. He looks like my late son. My son drowned when he was 2 years old, and my son was blonde and had brown eyes, and he's my little angel. So, yeah, so every time I come here, I just give him a big hug, and he's just like he knows. So it's really special to be here, and thank you so much for, as soon as I came in here, I had Simon Bird, Andy, the principal, Johnson, they just came and met me, and just, you know, right away just felt welcome here. And there was one guy, I don't know his name, and I said, well, better late than never. He said, Chief's motto, he said. But thank you so much, and thank you for honoring the treaties. I know the Office of the Treaty Commissions here do it too, and they do a lot of work. So thank you for that, doing that important work and making sure that we have to keep doing this. And I know that when we came here, the councillors and Councillor of Elders said, well, we need to do this in L'Orange too. But I was thinking maybe we could move it around like we do with Woodland Cree gatherings, because we should always be together because we signed our treaties together. You know, Chief William Charles and Chief James Roberts, they signed a treaty on February 11, 1889. And they didn't sign it, but yeah, like, you know, they took their time. They didn't, and the interpreter was actually the archdeacon at that time. And Modasi, they didn't, they didn't take it lightly because they knew it was something that would impact us into the future. They also wanted to make sure that we were still hunting, fishing, trapping, and to speak our language. So, as hard as you can, try to teach our kids our Cree language, our way of life, living off the land, the hunting, the fishing, trapping, and the respect for the fish and the animals and everything, because we always have to give an offering. You know, you always say a prayer and you give an offering, you say thank you for this food. And I know you've had a long day and I just got here. I'm ready to go. But I'm looking forward to the jigging. I know Chief Joyce and I are deadly jiggers. So we'll be jigging. And I think Councillor Devon can bust a move. Elvis, he can do it. Yeah. Yeah, but thank you so much, and thank you for honoring the treaties. And just to understanding, you know, we have one of the biggest claims that's coming up pretty soon. I know it's always on top of mind is the Treaty 6 agricultural benefit that was part of our treaty. And then and we also call it cows and plows. So it's something that we're continuing to work on. For us, we're at a stage where we're waiting for the formal offer. So once we have the formal offer from the federal government, then we can move from there. But hopefully by the end of next month, we'll have some word on it. But we're moving, and I don't know where yours is at. Chief Joyce, you want to come dance? Just kidding. But thank you so much. And also, I was thinking about, you know, that virtual health hub. I think it's going to be big, so they're going to build a virtual health hub at Dakota, at Whitecap. So it's all conceptual right now, but they've done a lot of work. But I know they already do work in Pelican. So there's Pelican Arrows. You can go there and get an ultrasound, and then they can do an ultrasound, and that doctor could be in Saskatoon or a specialist, and it's like real time. They even have X-ray machines. Like that X-ray machine is virtual, so they can do an X-ray. They did an X-ray on my hand this morning, but they can do that X-ray, and it's not as like they can do it, and then they can send that X-ray down south. They can even do check your arteries, check your heart. They can, you know, when they do that ECG, they can even do that virtual. They can send those results out right away. They can check your creatinine levels, like your kidneys. So it's really amazing stuff. So I know Chief Joyce will be interested in learning more about that and bringing it to Montreal Lake, because that's what this Dr. Mendez wants to do. And that's part of our treaty right to health, you know, because that's part of our medicine chest, medicine clause. Magigos, thank you so much. I don't want to take up any more time. But thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Chief. I'm going to go back to school and become a doctor. Never too late. Next we have the jiggers. So I don't think Mike and him can do a fiddle or jigging song, so we have music for them. Is the microphone here?
Good afternoon, everybody. Here's our basically Division 1 jiggers that we just got together. Some of them are just learning how, and I've been working with them for about 2 weeks with their jigging, and they also have a special dance that they're going to do right after their jigging. And then we have some older ones that just asked me today if they could jig, and I said, of course. So please welcome our jiggers. Thank you. Lots of work. Okay, so these little guys are going to go out to the crowd and they're gonna pick one person to do this heel toe polka with them. So go. Find your partner, your cookum, your mushum, your mom, your dad. And you can just dance around in the front chair, that's fine. Kendris, your mom's over here. Okay. So you guys can either dance in the front or there. The heel toe polka with their shoulder. You guys can dance. Some of you can dance in the front chair. And anyone else who wants to do heel toe polka, get up. Don't be shy. Get up and encourage these little ones. Okay, just let me know when everybody's set to go. Remember? Okay, there's lots of room down here. If any of you want to go down here, that's fine. Okay, I'm going to count to 3. On the count of 3, we're going to be ready to go. So 1, listo, listo. Job. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating. Good job to all the dancers.
All right, we're gonna get ready here to take down the flags. Singers will be ready. But once we dance out the Eagle Staff, that'll conclude our day. So I want to call up Joyce here, come and see, and as well as Chief Cook Searson, come on this way. Yeah, come on here, Chief. Joyce Tanawa. Oh, there you are. Tammy. Where did Chief Cook Searson take off to? Oh, she got scared. Yeah, she had to use the bathroom. Yeah, Andrew, since you're here, get up there. That's where you get for speaking. Come on in, Andrew. Come on, our Indian agent. Leadership, get ready. We're going to be dancing out the Eagle Staff. All right, you guys are ready. There we go. Yeah, Simon, Estem, come and dance with us. Yeah, Simon, you were called upon. Mark, where's Mark? And senators. Nolan is there, Marcian, Ed, all 3 of those guys. Come on in. Yeah.
Go. You just follow them. Go ahead. Follow them. Go, baby.
All right, for sure. All right, we'll get the Eagle staff. Bert, Donovan. Yeah.